When a billionaire walked into his mansion one quiet evening, he expected to find laughter, maybe his daughter running into his arms. Instead, what he saw made his world stop. His 8-year-old princess, his only child, stood in the center of the marble floor, dressed in a maid's uniform holding a mop with trembling hands, and behind her stood the woman he trusted most, smiling as if nothing was wrong. The image shattered him. How could the child of luxury, the light of his late wife's memory, be treated like a servant in her own home? What he didn't know was that the walls of his mansion had been watching, recording and waiting to reveal the truth that would shake not just his family, but the entire internet. This is not just a story about wealth and betrayal. It's about love, innocence, and the moment a father discovers what true protection means. A story that will break your heart, heal it, and remind you that money can buy anything except kindness. A billionaire returned home one evening, but what he saw inside his mansion made his heart stop. Right there in the middle of the grand hall stood his 8-year-old daughter, wearing a maid's uniform and holding a mop, her tiny hands trembling. The little girl of a billionaire dressed like a servant. He froze, not because he couldn't believe his eyes, but because the woman he trusted the most was standing right behind the child, smiling. What happened next would break the internet. Hello everyone, welcome and welcome back. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this story. That morning, the mansion was unusually quiet, too quiet for a home that once echoed with laughter. Sunlight streamed across the vast marble floor, reflected off the golden chandelier, and glimmered on the grand piano tucked in the corner. The air carried a faint scent of lilies, the fragrance her late mother used to adore. 8-year-old Tina Raymond tiptoed through the hallway, clutching her small teddy bear close to her chest. Her little feet made soft sounds against the cold marble tiles as she wandered, searching for a voice that would never answer again. Her mother's. She stopped in front of the large family portrait that hung above the staircase. In the picture, her father's arm rested lovingly around her mother's shoulders, both smiling brightly, while a much younger Tina sat in her mother's lap. Gently, Tina brushed her fingers against the glass. "Good morning, Mommy," she whispered, her voice trembling slightly. It had been 4 years since the accident that took her mother away. 4 years since the smell of pancakes had disappeared from Saturday mornings. Though her father, Mr. Raymond, tried to fill that void with gifts, toys, and hugs, nothing could truly mend the emptiness in her small heart. Downstairs, the sharp sound of heels clicking against the floor echoed through the silent mansion. Clara, Mr. Raymond's new wife, tall, elegant, and always drenched in perfume that made Tina sneeze, was already awake. "Good morning, Ma," Tina said softly as she stepped into the dining area. Clara turned slowly, her lips curling into a faint smile that never reached her eyes. "You're up early," she said, her voice smooth but tinged with irritation. "Why are you wearing that dress?" Tina blinked, looking down at her white silk gown, the one her father had chosen for her. "Daddy said I should wear it for breakfast," she replied. Clara's smile faltered. "Your father said that?" "Yes, Ma. He said it looks pretty on me." Something flickered in Clara's eyes, not warmth but jealousy. She took a sip from her coffee cup, then set it down gently. "Do you have any idea how much that dress costs, Tina?" The girl shook her head timidly. "More than your school fees for a term," Clara said coldly, folding her arms. "You're a child. You shouldn't be wearing silk. You should be learning how to behave." But Daddy said," Clara's tone sharpened instantly, "your father isn't here right now." She stood, her heels clicking hard against the tiles. "He left me in charge, and that means you do as I say." Tina swallowed hard, her eyes growing glossy. Clara reached into a nearby drawer and pulled out a folded gray maid's uniform. She threw it at the child's feet. "From now on, you'll wear this during the day. The maids are short-staffed, and you're old enough to help." Tina froze, staring down at the faded uniform. But I'm not a maid," she whispered. Clara's lips twisted into a mocking smile. "Oh, aren't you? You live here, don't you? You eat the food others cook and sleep in a bed others clean. That's what maids do." Slowly, Tina bent down and picked up the uniform with trembling fingers. The fabric smelled faintly of detergent and old wood. Her eyes stung, but she refused to cry. "Go on," Clara ordered impatiently. "Put it on before breakfast gets cold." Tina turned and walked upstairs, each step heavier than the last. Inside her room, she sat on the bed, staring at her teddy bear. "I don't want to wear it," she whispered. "I want Mommy." The bear gave no answer. Moments later, she stood in front of her mirror, dressed in the oversized uniform. The sleeves drooped over her arms, the waist hung loose, and the collar itched her neck. She brushed away a tear and forced a weak smile at her reflection. "Daddy will come home soon," she whispered. "He'll fix it. He always fixes everything." But deep down, she knew that some things even daddies couldn't fix right away. When Tina walked back downstairs, Clara's eyes scanned her from head to toe. "Better," she said flatly. "Now go help Mary in the kitchen and don't spill anything." "Yes, Ma," Tina replied quietly. In the kitchen, the housemaid Mary was frying plantains when she saw the little girl. Her eyes widened. "Ah, my baby, why are you dressed like that?" "Madam said I should help you," Tina murmured with a forced smile. Mary frowned, muttering under her breath, "This woman will see trouble one day." Then she knelt to Tina's level and whispered, "Don't cry, eh? Just stay close to me. I won't let her hurt you." Tina nodded gratefully. All morning, Tina carried plates, cleaned tables, and poured juice, tasks too heavy for her tiny hands. But every time Clara walked by, the little girl straightened up and forced a smile. By noon, she was exhausted. Her feet ached, her fingers were red from washing dishes, and she finally sat by the garden to rest. But Clara's sharp voice sliced through the quiet. "Tina." Tina jumped to her feet. "Yes, Ma? You left water on the kitchen floor. Clean it up now." "I'm sorry, Ma, I'll do it right away." "Do it fast," Clara snapped. "If you break another glass, you'll skip lunch." Tina ran off, her slippers slapping against the marble. As she wiped the floor, her eyes drifted up to the family portrait again. Her father's smiling face looked down at her. "I miss you, Daddy," she whispered. That night, she waited by the window, watching the driveway. Her father had promised to call, but his phone was busy. She waited until her eyelids grew heavy, whispering, "Maybe tomorrow." Downstairs, Clara was on the phone laughing. "Yes, darling, everything's fine here." "She's behaving now, Raymond. He won't be back until next week. The house is mine till then, upstairs." In the moonlight, Tina slept on the edge of her bed, still wearing the maid's uniform, still waiting for her father, who had no idea what was happening in his home. That Saturday evening, the mansion buzzed with activity. The maids polished silver trays, the chef barked orders, and the smell of roasted chicken filled the air. Among the bustle, one small figure moved quietly, Tina. She still wore the faded maid's uniform, the sleeves rolled up, her braids coming undone. The light in her eyes had dimmed. Mary watched with pity as Tina carried a tray of wine glasses. "Careful, my baby," Mary whispered. "Madam says you'll serve tonight. Just don't let her see you trembling." Tina nodded, gripping the tray tightly. In the grand sitting room, Clara was arranging flowers in a golden vase. She wore a shimmering red gown and a cloud of perfume that filled the room. Her friends, wealthy, loud, and eager to gossip, were arriving. "Ladies," Clara greeted as a car pulled up. "Right on time. Tonight is for fine wine and great company." "Clara, you look radiant," said Madame Louis, a woman dripping with jewels. "Marriage is treating you well." Clara smiled proudly. "Of course. Raymond spoils me more than I ever imagined." "Where is he?" another asked. "Business trip," Clara said, waving a dismissive hand. "He won't be back for a week. I run the house while he's gone." Her guests smiled knowingly. Power was something they all understood. "Come sit," Clara said. "I have something special tonight. Aged wine and a little surprise." That surprise stood quietly at the kitchen door, waiting for her cue. "Tina," Clara called sharply. "Bring the wine." Tina stepped forward, her hands trembling as she carried the silver tray. The guests fell silent as she approached. "Is that the daughter?" one woman whispered. "Yes," another replied softly. "Why is she dressed like a maid?" Clara pretended not to hear. "Careful, Tina," she said aloud. "Don't spill anything on my guests. That dress you're wearing wouldn't survive another stain." Laughter rippled around the table. Tina's cheeks burned. Her eyes filled, but she blinked away the tears and kept going. As she placed the glasses one by one, her hands shook so much that one nearly slipped. "Steady," Clara barked. "You're so clumsy, just like your mother was." The words struck Tina like a slap. She bit her lip, holding back tears. As the women dined, Tina stood by the wall, still and silent. Madame Louise's gaze lingered on the child, something sorrowful flickering in her eyes. During dessert, Clara leaned back smugly. When I married Raymond, this house was a mess. His late wife spoiled that child. I had to bring order. You're doing the right thing, someone said. Children need discipline. Exactly, Clara said. She knows her place now. She listens, she serves, and one day she'll thank me. That was when Tina accidentally dropped a fork. The sound echoed across the room. Pick it up, Clara snapped. Tina bent down quickly, but the hem of her uniform snagged on a chair and tore. She gasped. You can't even stand properly, Clara hissed. Before anyone could react, she slapped the girl across the face. The sharp sound silenced the room. Tina froze, her cheek red and burning. Clean it up, Clara ordered coldly, and stop crying. No one likes a weak child. Madame Louise stood slowly. Clara, she said softly. She's just a little girl. But Clara waved her off. Please, Lois, she needs to learn discipline. Tina knelt and wiped the floor, swallowing her sobs. When she finished, she whispered, I'm sorry, Ma. Clara ignored her and returned to her guests, pretending nothing happened. The laughter that followed was thin and uneasy. Later, Tina slipped out into the garden. Moonlight bathed her small frame as she sat by the fountain, crying softly. Daddy, she whispered through tears. Please come home. I'm trying to be good, please. Inside, Clara poured another glass of wine, laughing loudly. But upstairs, a tiny red light blinked. The security camera, quietly recording everything. The next morning, sunlight broke through the curtains. Tina was up early again, her hands red from scrubbing dishes. The uniform was now damp and faded. Mary watched her with sorrow. My child, she murmured, if your papa knew, this woman wouldn't last one night here. Please don't tell, Tina begged softly. She'll shout. You're too gentle, Mary sighed. But one day God will fight for you. Down the hall, Clara's voice rang out. Tina, where's my breakfast? Tina flinched and hurried in with a tray. Here, Ma. I'm going out later, Clara said, eyes glued to her phone. Make sure the house is spotless when I return. And don't touch the TV. You don't deserve it. Yes, Ma, Tina whispered. But before Clara could continue, the sound of a car engine rumbled outside. Tires screeched on the driveway. Clara froze. No, she muttered. He wasn't supposed to be back yet. Mary's eyes widened. Madam, Olga Don come home. Clara's phone nearly slipped from her hand. Panic washed over her face. The front door opened. Mr. Raymond stepped in, tall, calm, and sharp in his suit. He dropped his suitcase and called, Tina? The girl turned, eyes wide. Daddy! She ran to him, crashing into his arms. He lifted her up, feeling her tremble. My princess, he said gently. Why are you shaking? What's wrong? Then he noticed the uniform. His expression shifted from confusion to fury. Why are you dressed like this? Who made you wear this? Clara forced a smile. Raymond, you're home early. Oh, it's nothing. She was just helping around. Helping? His voice thundered. You made my daughter a maid in her own home? Darling, you're misunderstanding, she stammered. I was teaching her discipline. Discipline? He barked. By slapping her? By humiliating her in front of guests? Her face turned pale. Who told you that? He pointed toward the ceiling. A small black camera blinked red. She didn't have to tell me. The walls did. Clara's mouth fell open. You installed cameras? For security, he said coldly. To protect my family. To protect her. He pulled out his phone and played the footage on the living room TV. Clara's laughter filled the air, followed by her cruel words and the slap. Silence. Tina covered her face, trembling. Mary gasped softly. When it ended, Raymond turned toward Clara, his voice calm but deadly. I trusted you. I gave you everything. And you repay me by breaking my child's spirit? Raymond, please, she cried. Don't call my name like you love me, he said sharply. If you ever loved this family, you would have protected her. I made mistakes, but I did it for her own good. For her good? He thundered. You made her feel unwanted in her own home. Tina clung to his leg, crying softly. Daddy, please don't shout. I don't want anyone to fight. He knelt, gently lifting her chin. You don't have to be afraid anymore, my angel. No one will ever hurt you again. Then he stood and turned to Clara one last time. Pack your things. You're leaving today. Raymond, please. I love you. Don't do this. He shook his head slowly. Love doesn't hurt children, Clara. Love protects them. She tried to reach for him, but he turned away, lifting Tina into his arms as she walked out moments later, dragging her suitcase through the hallway. Clara looked back at the house she once ruled. The sound of Tina's laughter echoed faintly from upstairs, and for the first time, Clara realized she had lost something money could never buy: genuine love. Inside, Raymond sat on the couch with Tina in his lap, wiping away her tears. "I'm sorry, baby," he whispered. "Daddy should have been here." "Are you going to leave again?" she asked softly. "Not for a while," he smiled. "We've got too many pancakes to make up for." She giggled, clutching his shirt as rain began to fall outside, washing the driveway clean. Mary peeked in. "Sir, do you need anything?" "Yes," he said gently. "Take that uniform and burn it." "My daughter wears silk, not sorrow." Mary nodded, wiping her own tears. Tina rested her head on her father's shoulder. "Daddy," she murmured sleepily, "do you think Mommy can see us?" His voice caught. "I think she's smiling right now, because her little girl is safe again." Rain tapped softly against the windows as Tina drifted to sleep in her father's arms, for the first time in years, not afraid, not lonely, but wrapped in real love. Downstairs, the family portrait shimmered under the chandelier, the mother's smile frozen in time, but the home finally whole again. If this story touched your heart, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next emotional story, one even more powerful than this.